well manicured bedroom for the last 5 years, and probably will continue to live in his beautiful mini mansion for the next duration of his time in this world. What the uh, the actual premise of this video is to show you my backyard in the Florida Keys, and to show you just one of the properties in the thumbnail that's just a few less than 2,000 feet away from my house. It's a 7-minute walk, and that some of us actually have lives, because the video from the Florida Keys, in that you'll see a very, very nice ocean racer, which had an original new price of $150,000, and was an SR311 formula ocean racer with twin 365 horsepower 454 cubic inch engines. You'll see that to the bottom right of the screen. I'm not sure that you can see the Cobra, but the Cobra was probably on the side of the house. But just the premise of this video is to show you that some people actually leave the house and go do things. And in fact, in the Florida Keys, I had the access to the ocean, and access to Key West, and access to Miami, and access to 1,000 beaches via the boat or boats that I had in the backyard. And I was not confined to my bedroom. And there is a man who is constantly portraying himself as a blogger, and he is, in fact, a bedroom blogger, but not anyway. This is just a spoof video, but this is one of the videos that a friend of mine made years ago. I'm going to show it to you on the screen. You can look it up on my channel by the title, SYEX, and then Dick of Doom. That's the title of the video, and it's the title of a toy I had in the video. So if you care to, you can look that up on my channel. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you what it's like to live with a view. Now, the gentleman that chooses self-imposed, self-inflicted living quarters of the confines of a bedroom, that's his choice. Okay, he's chosen to spend the rest of his life in a bedroom, therefore he is the bedroom blogger. But I choose to have a view. So here's my view of the ocean, and I always lived where I could see the ocean from one of my windows or my balcony. So that's 200 feet away, and it's a beautiful place to take a walk, or to go swimming, or to stand on that barge and interact with either tourists or locals. And that's my idea of blogging, although I don't put that stuff up on YouTube every day. So let's go and take a look. This was my backyard in the Florida Keys. Notice the similarities. There is life out there, in life of trees. Of course, the water has life in it. People have boats over here. My boat would be down in the bottom right-hand corner down there. My other boat would be in the left-hand corner. So let's take a look at what it's like to actually have lived life outside of the confines of a bedroom. So we're going to start this video. It's going to be a short video. I just want to show you people that not everybody chooses to I don't know why he doesn't like to interact with people. That's not something I would understand, but he considers himself a blogger, but he never leaves. So let's just show you what life could look like if you left the house. Not his house, because his house is surrounded by dusty lots. My house, on the other hand, is surrounded by water. This house that I'm going to show you is surrounded by the water, with boat slips, boat ramp, boat cut, boats, backhoe, bobcat trailer, drill rigs, dump trucks, and a brand new Cobra in the driveway. Cobra Mustang, 340 horse, naturally aspirated, and bought brand new in 2001. Well, let's take a look at what life could be if you weren't self imposed. It reminds me of the Twilight Zone. Somebody that self self inflicted, not necessarily wounds, but afraid to live life by interacting with other people. Let's take a look at my old backyard, which I don't miss that much, but sometimes I miss it a little.
He's riding on the dick of doom. One day he will fly in your room, and he will take you to the moon. He's riding on the dick of doom. He's riding on the dick of doom. Make no mistake, he's coming soon, and he will play a different tune. He's riding on the dick of doom. The machine, the funky pumper, the automatic take the eye. As long as he has his rocket launcher, he's riding on the dick of doom. Make no mistake, he's coming soon, and he will play a different tune. He's riding on the dick of doom.
The old days.
With his rocket launcher, he'll go far, and the bellows like I've the bar. He'll get a job from the hand of God. He's so obsessed with his golden rod. He's riding on the dick of doom. One day he will fly in your room, and he will take you to the moon. He's riding on the dick of doom. He's riding on the dick of doom. He's riding on the dick of doom. He's riding on the dick of doom.
I've now been in 37 states. I think Lord love to go.
Yeah. That was some funny stuff. That was the old days. So no longer do we own that house, but that was a lot of fun living in the Florida Keys, especially at the time I lived in the Florida Keys. I moved to the Florida Keys in about 1993, and I had been going to the Florida Keys since 1973. So I made a few trips from New York to the Florida Keys. I never thought I was going to retire there. Actually, at the age of 38, I was done working in New York City and had enough money to buy a house in the Florida Keys for $239,000, which later became worth well over $1 million. But then when the economy crashed in 2008, the value of that house went down to about $300,000. But the time I lived in the Florida Keys, I either lived in that house from June 2nd of 1999 to September 21st of 2013. So it was about 14 years I lived in that house. Prior to that, I lived directly across the house, across the canal, just next to the house that's portrayed across the canal, one house over, for about 2 years. So from 1997 to 1999, I lived in that house. And from 1993 to 1997, I lived in Big Pine Key on Cahill Road, 122 Cahill Road. Oh, it was my first apartment when I moved to the Florida Keys. And Big Pine Key is noted for key deer, Keydeer, key deer. And what they are noted for mostly is they are deer not much bigger than dogs, a small dog at that. They don't weigh 25 or 30 pounds. And the key deer, they're a sanctioned species. You're not allowed to touch. You're not even allowed to feed them, the key deer. They're a protected species. And I moved straight from New York City to Big Pine Key, 122 East Cahill Street. There's a dive shop on the corner. And I lived on a ground floor apartment. Maybe it was a good sized apartment. I don't know how many square feet, 700 square feet, all tile, all new kitchen, new bathroom. And I was the block was 1,500 feet long from the main road, US 1, to the ocean. It was about 1,500 feet from the main road to the ocean. As far as I knew, there was one other person that lived upstairs from me, the owner of the house. There was a man that would come every couple of months to live next door to me, a cool dude, and we got along really well. He had a boat. We went boating. We went snorkeling. We went out on his boat quite a bit. But other than that man and his wife and daughter, there wasn't anybody else on the block that I knew of that lived there. The dive shop was a beautiful dive shop. That's the dive shop that I used to go diving from. So basically, I moved from New York City proper in the Queens area to a place, an island, where I was the only person on the block except for my landlord. And that was pretty interesting. There was just nothing at all to do there, and it was nice to do nothing. But the nature around that area in Big Pine Key, if you could experience that, you could enjoy it, because in the backyard in the morning would be key deer. And when I say they're only about the size of a dog, they're not much bigger than the average dog. And they would just come up and they looked like deer. They were deer. They were miniature deer. And they would come around the backyard and forage for foods. And I never fed them because you weren't supposed to feed them. And then there was Key Deer Park. And on that island, across the road and up the road a little bit, that's at mile marker 30. East Cahill Road was at mile marker 30. 330. Across the road was a reserve. Up the road a little bit was a reserve where they had crocodiles, real crocodiles, like 15 feet long. And you could walk through the reserve, unaccompanied. And I found that really interesting because it said, beware of crocodiles all over the place. These crocodiles were, and basically those two crocodiles that I remember, there were more, but two of them stayed in this huge pond. And they really didn't bother humans. And then not so far from there was a pizza place. Forgot the name of the pizza place. But that was the only pizza place for 30 miles. The next pizza place was in Marathon at mile marker 59 or 60 when you went north, and the next pizza place was in Key West. So I was 30 miles from Key West. The water behind the house was about 17 or 18 feet deep. You could see from the side of the dock where I lived, you could see the bottom, and on the bottom you could see all kinds of life. It was a really cool place to live. I'm gonna just go to my channel here for a moment. I want to see if there's any chat on this camera. I'm not able to see chat so readily available. So let's get this over here. See chat so readily available. So let's get this. No chat. That's nice. I like that. No chat. Become a member of this channel. I think I've already done that part of it. Okay, so when you left the house, you could walk around that place for hours and not see another person. That island, on that island itself, you could walk around for hours. You could go into the there was a hardware store, supply center, that I used to go in on a regular basis. I worked for a contractor named Mike, and I forgot his wife's name. I built we built a couple of bathrooms and tile floors and kitchens. We put kitchen cabinets in. Mike was also a contractor, and he hired myself and another man. We worked there in his house for several months. And in the 6 or 7 or 8 months that I worked at Mike's house, never saw another person. The only person that I ever saw when I lived on Big Pine Key was Mike, his wife, the guy I worked with, my landlord, and the fellow next door. I forgot his name. Nice guy, older man. He was about 68 years old, but he was a cool dude. That was the only people I ever saw on the island. There was an arts and crafts place up the road about mile marker 29. Somebody was in the house. It was a house, but it was a store all the time. And you go there and look at local art. Just if you had nothing to do and you wanted to talk to somebody, you went there. But basically, Big Pine Key in 1993, at the time I lived there, in probably February, March, maybe February or March through September. In the summertime on Big Pine Key, it was desolate except for one person on the island. So I had to do work, and I had a backhoe at the time, and I had to go to do a job with the backhoe, and there was nobody on the island. The people that would hire me to do the job would be like a real estate agent, or somebody on a computer would hire me to go do a job because I had a backhoe business down there. So I roll up on a street, another deserted, desolate street in Big Pine Key, and I'm rolling down the block, and I'm looking at a car. I know the car. It's a station wagon. It's my uncle's station wagon, who he was. The last thing my uncle wanted in this entire world was for anybody to know where his house in the Florida Keys was. He bought this house in the Florida Keys, and for 6 or 7 years it remained a mystery where it was. And who's standing outside but my uncle? And he's looking at me. And I'm looking at him, and I'm going, geez, that's my uncle. And his wife is standing next to him. She goes, what are you doing here? So obviously, I came here to do some work. And then they asked me if I would keep it a secret where they lived. And I didn't care where he lived. But that was the only other person that I ever saw on the island besides the lady in the art shop, the man next door, and my landlord. And the people in the building supply, Michael and his wife and the man I work with. Probably saw about 6 or 7 people in the dive shop. Probably in 7 months I only talked to about 9 people, which was pretty cool. So, but then I realized that in order to do anything at all, which was basically Key West or Marathon, you had to drive 30 miles, and it was a lot of driving to do. So I moved to Key West. For about a week and a half, I had a little apartment down there. I didn't like it in Key West. I don't drink. I had a job as a gondolier. I actually operated a gondolier. And if you think those boats with the single oar in the back, but mine had the boat that I operated had an assist motor, an electrical assist motor. But I tell you what, I wasn't strong enough to do that with the paddle. Those boats weigh 3,000 pounds. They're 30-something feet long. And the guy I worked for, he was a cool dude, but I couldn't, without another person on the boat helping me with the oar, I couldn't do the job. So I tried that for about a week. He said, you'll get used to it, but it's not a question of getting used to it. It's a question of being, and this guy was like 6 foot, very, very big man, very well built. And for him, he could get used to it. I was too small to get used to that. But I actually was a gondolier for about 5 days. But I went out on the boat. My dad came down to I have pictures of this somewhere in one of my drives. So I do have pictures of this. My dad came down to Big Pine Key to stay with me for a couple of weeks. And he takes me up to Marathon. And he takes me into this compound, and Margie Redmond, Jimmy Redmond, the whole Redmond family, which was about 12 of them, the guy who owned the Shellbank Basin Bar, probably like 45 people that I knew lived in this compound. Bob Miller owned the Shellbank Basin Bar. And all of Wes McCurdy, Leslie McCurdy, his wife, Estelle McCurdy, they were all there, and then life in the Florida Keys became fun, because then I had somebody from New York, families that we grew up together in New York, but the Florida Keys wasn't for everybody. But I was making a point, and the point I was making is that adventure, living life is an adventure, and there is a myriad of things to do out there. And for me to leave New York City in 1993, just leave it, done. I'm done not working, but I'm done living in New York. The only time I went back to New York was for the summer, after that summer, to do jobs. If I had a big job, I would go back to New York and do a job. I had a barge at the time. So if I had a job to do a bulkhead, I would go back to do the bulkhead job. If I had a salvage job to raise a boat with the barge, I would get a message from the Coast Guard or from one of the local contractors, salvage contractors, and they would say, Mike, we got a 40-foot, 44-foot boat, red, and they would tell me, come back, and I give them a price, and they would say, okay, and I would go back and raise the boat. Now, sometimes the boats were sunk under ice, and at that point, I would operate the crane on the barge, I'd hire a diver. But that was it. I was done. So the adventure, life is an adventure. And it is an adventure. And now, one time the diver didn't show up, and I had to go under the ice. That was an adventure. And I could tell you about that, but nobody would want to believe me, but nobody would do it. If I told you what was about to occur when I went down under the water, to find the boat, release the motor hatch, and put a sling around the motor so that I could attach a cable from the barge to the motor sling. And what happened was, this is an adventure. This is an adventure. And I can't prove it because I didn't have a camera, but I know it happened to me. So there's a boat at 159, probably 30, His was 159.20, 159.34. Sean's house. His boat sunk. So his real estate agent calls me up and tells me that this boat is sunk. Sean had walked away from the house, and it's in 40 feet of water. That canal had a cut in the canal. It used to be a submarine base, that canal, 95th Street Canal. So they wanted me to go down, or my barge to go down and get this boat. Okay, so there's nothing on the boat. There's no eye on the front of the boat like on a small boat. There's an eye you could put a cable on. Then there's nothing like that on the boat. The only thing that you could grab on the boat is to put a sling under the boat, but the boat's sitting in 2 or 3 feet of silty mud, soft mud. And so the only thing you could grab in the boat is one of the motors. There's 2 engines in there. They were 327 Chevy, small blocks. So I go down. The diver doesn't show up. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody's waiting around. The Coast Guard's there. At the time, we didn't need a boom because all the fluids had gone out of the boat already. And they say, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, you know what? I'll go down, but it's going to be this much more money if I have to go down there and put the sling on the motor, because I only have a 1/4 inch thick wetsuit. Water temperature is like 35 degrees, but down at the bottom in the thermal, it could be 34, 35 degrees. Water temperature at top's about 35, 36 degrees. I'll go down, but it's going to be extra money. And they said, okay. So I get suited up, and I go down with a sling, and we put a weight on the number 1 cable of my crane barge, on the crane. And I put the cable, I go down with the cable. We had a rope down with an anchor to the boat. We could feel the boat when we dropped the anchor in the boat. And I go down and I release the motor hatch, which was basically a floorboard, and it floated up to the surface. And I start taking the sling and putting it around the motor. Now, I'm neutrally buoyant. There's no extra weight from me being in the boat at all. The boat's on a kind of a 45-degree angle like this because the deepest part of the canal is 60 feet. We're in about 40 feet of water. There's no weight in the boat at all. It's just me putting the sling around the motor. And as I'm putting the sling underneath the motor, the boat starts to slide. Now, I could see at this point, I could see the motor, because when I went down inside the motor compartment, there was no sand or silt. The boat had settled straight down on the mud. I didn't disturb any silt. If you're a diver, you know what I'm talking about. So now I got my arm underneath the motor with the sling, and I have my arm on the cable, my other hand on the cable. So I'm holding the cable so it doesn't get loose from where I am, because all I have to do is put the sling around any shock mount on the motor, and I'll have enough to work the sling towards the back of the motor where the transmission is. All I got to do is get it under the motor, and the boat starts to slide down this hill, down this slope. And the back of the boat is towards the bottom. And when the back of the boat slides towards the silt, now the silt is coming over the back of the boat. I have zero visibility, no viz at all, nothing. But I still have the cable, so I know I can get back up to the surface, but I'm also not going to be able to make a second dive, so it's got to be this dive to get that sling on. And the boat doesn't slide very far, maybe 10 or 12 feet. But the silt came over the back of the boat, and now I'm completely blind. I cannot see anything. So one end of the sling is attached to the number one cable, and the other end I have in my hand. And with that, genius that I am, somehow I knocked off my mask. Now I have no mask, one hand under the motor, because I'm holding on to the motor, one hand on the sling, and my mask falls off. Now I have, even if the water cleared up, I still have no visibility. So when the boat stops, I'm reaching around like this on top of the motor, on top of the floorboard, and I find my mask. So I put my mask on and clear it. Still can't see anything. Finally, I get the strap under the boat, under the motor. Like a 16, 18-foot strap. I bring it up around the back. I slide the strap to the back of the motor where the transmission was. I hook it up with a second shackle that I had on the number one wire. Had a ring on it like this with two shackles. One end had the sling. The other shackle was open, ready for my second eye on the thing. And I get that hooked up, and then I go up the cable, and nobody knows what went on down there, just me. And I'm saying to myself, I don't care how much money I'm making for this freaking boat. I don't care. It's not worth it. But it was an adventure. And that's the point of this video, that some people actually live their lives. And other people live their lives vicariously through other people's experiences. Now, you could never imagine what it was like holding onto a cable with a sling with your right hand, a cable with your left hand, and the boat sliding into this muddy silt and it coming over the back. Nobody could imagine what that's like unless you've been in a situation like that. But it was an adventure. And it was an adventure that you will remember forever. Not some of these people on YouTube have never actually experienced a full-on adventure, and they believe that their life, their history somehow is that what they're doing, that there's a reason for this video. The reason is to try to make this fella that lives in a bedroom understand that other people have lived a myriad of experiences. The Big Pine Key experience, the Key West experience, the living in Key Largo, the Ocean Racer, the Cobra in the backyard, the brand new backhoe, the Bobcat, the dump truck, running back and forth to the different places that I bought gravel up in Miami, going through weight scales that measure the weight of the truck, and you don't buy. There was a guy on one of my videos, I let him say silly stuff. The guy says, you don't buy dirt by the pound. Yeah, you do. In the Florida Keys, you go over a scale empty. In Miami, you go over a scale empty. They weigh your truck with you in it. They load up your truck. If you're buying egg rock or pea rock or gravel or sand, they load up your truck and you pay by the weight. But that's an adventure, to go up to Miami and to drive through the streets of Miami with a dump truck, and that's an adventure. And it's a pain in the neck at the time, yeah, but it's an adventure. When you look back at it, it's an adventure. It's not living life self-confined to a bedroom and then believing that you're a blogger. Where are the blogs? A blogger goes out and does stuff. Go on my homepage. Look at my videos of the beach. Look at my videos from the hotel where I have breakfast. Look at my videos of the construction site down the block. Look at my videos of the fiestas that I have on there. Look at the videos of Daisy and I working on the property. Those are experiences. Those are outside the bedroom experiences. Even this little thing I have around my neck. See this thing? We have to thank Batman. This was an adventure. Opening up that box yesterday was an adventure because I didn't order this. I'm sitting in my backyard, and the driver goes, "Ayo, ayo." I'm going to myself, what's this? Ayo means hello, and but I don't have any orders coming yesterday. Ayo. So I walk out to the front and I said, "What's up?" "I have a package from Michael Fazio." I'm going, "Wow, this is cool. An adventure, a new adventure. Somebody sent me something." Happens all the time. Somebody sent me something in the mail. But actually it happened from Batman. 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 Batman sent me this thing. By the way, Batman, this thing works like a champ, man. I've had this on since yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock. This thing is cool. What this is, it's an air conditioner. All of these vents here have air coming out of them. Inside this earpiece here, and inside this earpiece here is a fan. There's 2 fan motors in here. Put this on your neck, and it's blowing air up. Let me see what I can show. I can show you this. Not only is it an adventure, but it's an adventurous item to go to for when I'm exploring the caves on Bantayan Island. Okay? This is one of the papers that came with it. It says, "Have to stay cool if you're exploring Bantayan Island from bats." BATS. Then I know that it came from Batman himself. This is a gift from Batman himself. Now, Batman is a very famous blogger. Actually, he's a lot more famous than you guys care to think, but he's a very famous blogger, and he's very well known in Hawaii for posting, good morning, for posting videos on a flyer that people can enjoy. Batman. So this is from Batman himself. Have to stay cool if you're exploring Bantayan Island from bats. That's a gift for you. See that? Batman. Thank you, Batman. Now, if I can show you if there's anything else. Send a thank you note to Batman. And then there is the card. So this, we thank Batman not only for this gift, but he sent me a gift a while ago, and he's been a very generous donator in my super chat. So let's see. Thank you, Batman. Salamat. I'm not saying, hold on a minute. Okay, okay. Let's see if maybe I'm missing something here, live chat. Okay, so Batman, we thank you. Thank you much. Make believe I'm banging a pot. Just make believe that I'm banging a pot. Why am I having that 9%? What's going on here? Hold on a minute. 99%. So Batman, this was an adventure. Going out and having a gift brought to me. Now, so what I'm trying to point out is that there's a fella out there that's self-imposed. Nobody is confining him to his bedroom. But it reminds me of a Twilight Zone episode where the one where the guy, he loves to read books. And all he wants to do is spend his life reading books. And he goes into some sort of a shelter, bomb shelter, and under the underground bomb shelter, and somehow the world has total devastation. And he wants to be left alone to read books, so he goes down into the shelter to be alone to read the books. And then I don't remember the exact reason, but he came out of the shelter and realized that the whole world was gone. Everything that he knew, everybody he knew, was all gone from some sort of catastrophe. And he's so happy because now he can just, down in the shelter is a library. And he is so happy. And then he drops his glasses and he steps on them by accident. And then I think it ended at that point. Well, but so basically, he spent his whole life in a room reading books, but never experienced life itself. So we're trying to get this, I don't know, you could call self-imposed introvert or self-imposed exile to understand that he has a beautiful bedroom. Nobody's going to take away his beautiful bedroom. And his beautiful bedroom has a very, very, very noisy air conditioner in it, which drowns out all the other sounds of life. Birds chirping, crickets chirping. That air conditioner is so loud, dude, that you spent 40,000 pesos on an air conditioner that makes so much noise, no one can hear you talk. Yet, that is your sanctuary. And we'll give you 2 thumbs up that you have created your own private sanctuary inside what appears to be a nice house. Nobody's going to take that away from you either. But you have exiled yourself to a bedroom and committed your life, apparently, to endeavors that are fruitless at the end of the day. You've made 28 videos in the last 7 days. 28. Most of them have been put up and taken down. 28. Nothing fruitful has come from the 28 videos. You made one this morning where, again, for the 7th or 8th time in 2 or 3 years, you're notifying a government agency in America about another blogger who actually has much more of a life than you do. The truth is, the blogger that you're trying to ridicule and demean, his life is much more fruitful than yours. And actually, there are a lot of people that believe that the self-confined blogger to his bedroom is jealous of the blogger he makes videos about every day. 28 videos in 7 days is 4 videos a day about a man that you want to try to emotionally, psychologically demean in some manner, and you're not getting it. Okay? What you say is probably demeaning. What you say is probably hurtful. But it's falling on deaf ears. The fella that you are demeaning, for whatever reason, jealousy, or possibly jealousy, doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what you think. He never cared what you think. He's never going to care what you think. And yet, day after day, after day, after day, after day, you keep making the same mistake over and over and over. That is not a definition of living life. But it's your definition of living life. But other people would say, no, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go to a beach. I'm going to go take a boat ride. I'm going to go swimming. And when I'm on the boat, I'm going to tell the captain of the boat to stop, and I'm going to put on my swim shorts, and I'm going to jump in the water. Or let's go to a beach where we can swim on the beach and splash water in it. That's an adventure. Not sitting on the boat, all dressed with, you're fully clothed with a pair of sneakers on going like this. That's not exactly an adventure. It would be an adventure if a person was a paraplegic, put him on the boat and he gets to see the ocean and the seagulls and possibly the dolphins and the splashing of the water. That would be an adventure for someone that was literally confined to a bedroom or a small confined area. But you're not. There's nothing saying that you can't go out and experience life. Nothing. This is serious stuff, dude. We're not criticizing at this point. We're trying to give you advice. But your concept, your reality of life is limited to, I don't know if your bedroom's 12 foot by 12 foot or 15 foot by 15 foot. You are still limiting yourself to 2 or 3 or 4 videos a day, laying down on a bed, talking about 2 or 3 different people every day. And you believe that you're accomplishing something. You want to see accomplishments? Google Michael Fazio's real jobs. And then you'll see bobcats, backhoes, track hoes, cranes, barges, tugboats, deck building companies, and 10, 5, 7, 15, 20 men working for Michael Fazio on jobs back from all the way back into the 80s up until 93 when he moved away from New York. And then you're going to see backhoes, bobcats, drill rigs, dump trucks, ocean racers, speedboats, and of course the Cobra Mustang that was bought brand new in 2001. That's reality. That's my reality. Your reality is 4 videos a day about a man that doesn't care what you say. Why do you continue to make the same mistake over and over and over? And somebody could say, well, you're making a video about him today. Well, yeah, because I was listening to a show last night and it made me aware that there is more to life than blogging about a guy who's not listening to what you're saying. He doesn't care. But your life is to try to make him care. He's never going to care. You're never going to stop. But at least he, on occasion, not much, nothing compared to Michael Fazio in the third party. Nothing does he do compared to Michael Fazio, but at least he walks outside his house. He actually goes outside his house and walks around. Sometimes he rides a motorcycle. This week he was at his girlfriend's mother's house. Not much, but different. But you have confined yourself to a bedroom, to blogging from a bed. So that's the point of today's video. Life is something to be lived and experienced, not blogged from a bedroom. Even the guy who you are criticizing all the time made a funny statement that you are living life victoriously. I think he meant vicariously, but he said you're living life victoriously through his eyes. That's probably more true than anything that you have said about him, because I'm telling you, I saw him outside the house at his girlfriend's mother's house. He was even outside that house. He even went outside that house. Showed us the backyard. What? Talk about an adventure. The man went from his house to his girlfriend's mother's house to her mother's backyard. That's, compared to you, the bedroom blogger, that's an adventure. He was outside his house, big doings, to his girlfriend's mother's house, big doings. Then he went from his girlfriend's mother's house to her backyard, big doings. Then he showed us the backyard, big doings. And then he went into a storage room, 5 things, 5 new experiences. And you put a piece of masking tape over your camera and you talk. And when you do make a video, this is how it works with you. Your camera goes up and down like it's on a rubber band. No one can understand what it is that you were trying to focus on. It's some kind of newfangled photography. But you believe that hanging your camera from a rubber band and flashing it around and talking, and then sometimes it's facing the floor, sometimes it's facing the ceiling, sometimes your fingers are over the lens. You believe that's blogging. You have a misconception of blogging and a misconception of life itself. If you want to know what life is, go and to my channel, this channel, or Hoodwinked by an Angel, and go see my adventures. I have videos from Michigan, Florida, pictures from California, pictures from New York, pictures from Long Island, pictures of my house in New York City, 2 different houses where I lived on the water, pictures of my house where I grew up, punching bags in the backyard, and when I built a boat, a 21-foot cabin cruiser, and all the many, many different jobs, and hundreds of different men that have worked for me over the years. That's an adventure. That my life was an adventure. My life is going to continue to be adventure because now I'm getting into the drone business. I might start an entire business based on drone videos. I might learn everything there is to learn about drones and then go fly drones and talk about drones, and I don't have to leave my house to show some of the greatest footage of the Philippines. I could sit right outside my backyard and walk to the beach and drone one of the 4 or 5 5-star hotels. Just walk down the beach a little bit, and there's 4 or 5 5-star hotels. I don't have to blog them all at once with the drone. I can do them one for each, and then I can do a different video each day. There's an endless supply of opportunities to work with a drone. I'm going to go to different islands and drone different islands. And I actually never watched a drone video before in my whole life, a few minutes here and there, but now I am known as the Sky King. Even before I have a drone, I'm the Sky King, Sky King 1. And Sky King 1 plans on doing drone videos. I may not make a lot of them, but the drone I'm buying is top of the line. Oh, and the fella that lives in the bedroom, he's upset that people donated money to buy me a drone. Yet he says, why should anybody care about what anybody else does? But he cares because he's jealous of Michael Fazio, of the other guy who went to his girlfriend's mother's house and then out into the backyard of his girlfriend's mother's house. And then from the backyard, he showed the outhouse. That was big doings, man. That was big doings. Putting the outhouse in his video. Then he went out in the backyard itself, and then he went into the girlfriend's store. That was a major accomplishment. That was a major blog. Compared to the bedroom blogger, that was like a prime time, one of those CBS productions. The one was 20th Century Fox production when he went out into the backyard and blogged the outhouse. Compared to the bedroom blogger, that was like with the lion roaring and and the CBS and the Peacock all over the screen. That guy made a 5-star production compared to the Bedroom Blogger. The Bedroom Blogger has no blogs about the Philippines. At least the other guy, he's got a video with an outhouse in it. Come on, how cool is that? Anyway, the drone is on its way. I hear people say, well, you didn't pay for the drone. No, I did pay for the drone. In fact, I laid out $1,500 US for drones, for the drone, actually, and the drone accessories. I only received about half of that money back in donations. But I laid out that $1,500 before I had a sixth of that money in donations. So it wasn't like somebody bought me the drone. I'm sure that they're going to pay for it eventually because I have confidence in my donators. They want to see the drone in action. I'm going to show it to them in action, and then the donations will come in. And if they don't, I'm okay with that too. Because no matter, I'm going to be Sky King 1 in the Philippines. You can make fun of it all you want. Make fun of the name. Make fun of me blogging the Philippines. Why would you make fun of me wanting to blog the Philippines? Because you are jealous. You don't have the ability, wish, want, or desire to own a drone. But I do. So why should you be upset about that? Well, you're upset about that because you're jealous. When I get the drone, you'll pray every day that I crash the drone because you're an angry man. And that's your prerogative. You can stay in your bedroom and pray that I crash the drone and that I lose my investment. Or you could get out and do something and say, look what I'm doing. But not from your bedroom. We have seen enough of your bedroom blogs where you cover the screen with a piece of tape, and this is what we see on your screen. That is not blogging. That's not blogging. That is, who the heck knows what that is? No one knows what that is. No one actually knows why you do that other than the fact, the possibility that you're an introvert, the possibility that you're afraid of leaving your confines, your constrictions for whatever reason, and the possibility that you may have, there's a word for it. Somebody want to throw the word up on the screen. Nobody's commenting. That's okay. Somebody want to throw the word up on the screen, what it is called when you're afraid to go outside. Anaphobia? Not anaphobia. There's a word for it. It was in a Ocean's 12 movie. I don't remember that. There's a word for people that are afraid to go outside. Agoraphobia? Agoraphobia? Is that it? I don't know why I'm not getting any response here. You guys listening? I asked you for a question. Usually I have somebody answer by now. Agoraphobia? I don't see any live chat, but we are live. We do have 12 people watching. Okay. Nobody can come up with the word. It's a weird word. Okay, top chat. Scott Del Fuego. Hello, Scott. Welcome. Mr. Fazio, a man that has experienced all facets of life and continues to live in a manner that celebrates our existence. Thank you very much, Scott Del Fuego. Thank you. Mark Goldberg. Hey, Mark Goldberg. I remember you, Mark Goldberg. To give you an idea how well my memory works, last week, you, Mark Goldberg, asked me if I was going to paint the drone yellow. Thanks for that question, and the answer is yes. In fact, let me write down yellow paint so I can paint the drone yellow. So before I forget, Mark Goldberg, I have glue here, and then glue, and then yellow. And I have to find a yellow car paint. I'm going to have to find a very light duty. I have yellow, baby. Yellow paint. Thanks, Mark. And the word is agoraphobia. Agoraphobia. Thank you, Mark. So how's my memory, Mark? Yeah, Mark asked me a great question. That was a really good question. And here is the yellow. This is the color yellow. It'll be a bright sun yellow. Now, actually, I have enough yellow to paint the drone right behind me in a 1-gallon bucket. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia. Django, thank you. Django, I love that name. I never saw that movie, but I like that name, Django. It has a ring to it. Django, baby. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia. Salamat. Now I want to go get the pot because I'll let you guys look at what I look at when I look out my window. I see life. I see birds. I see chickens. You know that there's a part of life that I experience here that most people, I didn't know about it until I got here and experienced it. But outside that window is that big tree. Yeah, you see that big tree, right? It's not complicated. It's not hard to see that big tree. The big tree is out there, and I'm going to tell you something about that big tree. You wouldn't believe it, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. Inside that big tree at night, at exactly 10 minutes after 6 o'clock, on that fence right there, on that fence, under that big tree, on the top of that fence, at 10 minutes after 6, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, at 10 minutes after 6 at night, about anywhere from 3 to 7 or 8 or more chickens will jump up on the fence railing at 10 minutes after 6. And they'll all sit up there for 2 or 3 minutes. And then one at a time, they'll jump up into the tree. Because, believe it or not, before I moved to the Philippines, I had no idea where chickens slept. I had never given it any thought. Well, chickens sleep in trees. Not only that, but chickens can fly. I always thought chickens couldn't fly because all the chickens I ever saw were inside cages. I didn't even know that they could fly. Those chickens, they don't fly far. Some of them can fly, you see them fly 50, 60, 70 feet if they're spooked. But at 10 minutes after 6 at night, as the sun is going down, they get up on the railing of that fence, and then they, one at a time, they jump up into the tree. But more fun, more exciting than that is that at 6 o'clock in the morning, they start flying out of the tree onto the fence. And they look around, and then they decide if they're going to go that way over the fence, east or west over the fence. And then they jump down and they start scratching for a living, scratching to make a living. I think that's pretty cool. I think that is really cool. And I watch that happen every day. I know it's something really silly, and my batteries died in my Batman air conditioner. I'm going to, hold on a minute. Let me get this thing. Oh, you know what? I don't even have to charge it up. It works when it's plugged in. Batman sent this to me. Batman. It's got a little plug here. Plug it in. Yeah. It works. It works when it's charging and it's fanning. Batman, thank you. And how can you say thank you? How many ways can you say Batman? You can say thank you by banging Aloe, the great Aloe de Winter's bucket. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, Batman. Batman. Yeah, man. Batman has sent me when I couldn't find shorts in my waist size. Batman sent me a pair of Dickies shorts, size 44. When I could not find any size 44 shorts in any mall, in any department store here in the Philippines, Batman sent me a pair of shorts. Batman! Yeah, Bruce Wayne, who disguised as a lonely downtown metropolitan reporter. Batman and Robin. Salama. Salama. Thank you, Batman. Thank you very much. Salama. That was pretty cool. That was a nice surprise from Batman himself. Now, Batman is a very famous man. He actually was, he sent flyers out all over a neighborhood in Hawaii. He made one particular person famous. Actually made the man, no one knew who he was or where he lived, and Batman made him famous. That's what Batman does. The Django, thank you. Oops. Agoraphobia. Damn typo. Agora, that, okay, okay, I actually remember that because, let me tell you something, the Django. How I learned a lot of words. Besides from, I read the Webster's 20th Unabridged Dictionary many times, cover to cover. Okay, so I have a very good understanding of words. But every time I ever watch a movie or a show, anything, a talk show, game show, if there's a word that they use out of context, out of my syntax, out of my normal word pattern, I look it up. Like Batman, actually Batman himself, and Batman sent me a message a few days ago. Get thee to Bantayan Island and ferret out that knave. Knave. Now, I know what a knave is because in the movie Dune, the housemaid for the Duke Leto Atreides, he has a knave, and her name, she was a very short woman. She was a loyal woman to Duke Leto Atreides, but that was her name, Knave. Very close to that. They do that in movies. They put the words very close. So I remember that word knave from going back now into 2000, in the early 2000s, when I met a woman. Oh God, she was such a cool lady. What was her name? Her name was not Kara, but she was my woman that I met her at a dance club. I don't know how to dance, but I met her at a dance club, and we were talking, and we weren't for each other. We weren't going to hit it off with each other. We had really nothing in common. She didn't drink, I didn't drink. We talked a little bit about masonry because she saw some emblem I had on my shirt, and she told me her father was a master mason and also the head of the lodge and what lodge, and didn't really care that much about that. Anyway, we were talking about what we had nothing to do. We had nobody to talk to. Everybody knew how to dance. I didn't dance. She knew how to dance a little bit. She was a little bit older. She was about 45 years old. I was in my early 30s. When in 2001, what would I have been? 65, 75, 85, 95, 2000. I was about 40 years old when I met her. 40, 44. She was about 44, 45. And she said, what's your favorite movie? And at the time, Dune, D-U-N-E, was my favorite movie, Dune. And that's the movie that had the word knave in it. And it was like magic. She goes, that's my favorite movie too. And we made a date to rent the movie, Dune, and watch it together. And from that day on, we dated for years. And then she was a pretty cool lady, but she wanted kids, and she couldn't have kids. And she knew I wanted kids, and she couldn't have kids. I said that wrong. She couldn't have children, and she knew I wanted children at the time. That was on my mind. But she also was a very wealthy woman, and eventually she sold her house. She was married to a famous lawyer. If I mentioned the lawyer's name back then, everybody would know who the lawyer was. A very famous lawyer in Miami. And she moved away and moved someplace where rich people live, because she was an amazingly smart, intelligent head nurse of a hospital. But anyway, we dated for years. And that word knave, from my friend sending me the letter, get thee to Bentalion Island and ferret out the knave. I thought that was pretty cool. So the movie Ocean's 11, that had the word agoraphobic, was said by the guy who married Angela Jolie, I think, one of those men, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt said that to the star of the movie. He never leaves the house. He's an agoraphobic. And then I looked it up. I stopped the movie and looked it up. So thanks for that, agoraphobic. And I forgot the word, but I remember what it meant. He's riding on the dick of doom. He's not in his room. That's a pretty funny song. They could be wildfowl. That's right. They could be wildfowl. That's another definition for knave. That's right. That is actually right. But in the sense that it was sent to me, I don't know why the comments aren't showing up, Scott. I would have thought there would be more comments, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm okay with that. So I had a great morning. I got up. It's raining slightly. It's nice and cool out. I got up this morning. I got up early. I had, I don't know why, 4 o'clock. I've been up since 4 o'clock. Yesterday, I got up late at 5 o'clock. 4:30 is pretty normal. Sometimes I get up earlier than that. I go to sleep sometimes at 6 o'clock, because when I'm done with my day, when I go out and do something that regarding work related, or take a walk or exercise, I get tired. In fact, when the doctor told me 2 months ago to stay in the house and do not move your leg, and it's going to heal up faster if you don't walk, because when you walk, the skin goes like this and like that, and it doesn't heal up so easy. That had a very, very negative effect on me. I kind of sat around. I did a lot of stuff with videos, but I didn't get much exercise outside, and that just destroyed me. That destroyed me. Not having any exercise. So I try to, even if I just walk around the yard or up and down, back and forth, to yoke, balak to yoke. But yesterday I was tired. I pushed it big time yesterday. So I will say to Mark Goldberg, thank you for the word agoraphobia. And Scott Del Fuego, thank you for stopping by. I will say thank you to the bedroom blogger, who has made and will, hopefully from this video, will make everybody aware that living life vicariously through YouTube is one way to live your life. There's no doubt about it. And it's his way of living life. There's no doubt about it. And the chances of him changing his ways, his mental capacity. How many people have said, dude, come on out, man, enjoy reality. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. And that's sad. It's sad because he believes he's living life. And that is the sad part. If he knew I am self-imposed I'm going to stay in this room for the rest of my life. And I know that's what I want to do. And this is my space. And I'm happy here. That would be okay. But he doesn't realize he's not happy there, because if he was happy there, he would do happy things. But he doesn't do happy things. He does the opposite of happy things. He tries to make his simple life the zenith of life itself. That's not the way it works, dude. So good luck in your very, very, very nice new accommodations. Nobody could take that away from you. Good luck in your very nice and well manicured bedroom with your bedroom furniture. That air conditioner that you put in there, that's a definite minus 20 points. Nobody can hear anything that you're saying over the sound of the air conditioner. But good luck in your new bedroom, because that's where you'll spend the rest of your life. And probably that might be a good thing. Can you see me now? Dennis, I can see you now, yeah. Hello, Michael and Scott. Hello, Dennis. Thanks for stopping by. We live in Tagaytay City. Awesome weather, pretty much year-round. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful day today. It's cool. Scott asked me what the temperature was this morning. It was about 28 degrees. Now it's 30 degrees, but with a full-on overcast. And Tagaytay City, that's got to be up in the mountains to be 22 degrees Celsius. Wow, I could look that up. Tagaytay City. See, I'll just look that up. See, now Tagaytay City is, I don't know where Tagaytay City is, but I'm going to go look that up. I'll look it up. See, this is called Google search. I'm at the second tab there. I want to go here. No new news on my drone. I'll check on my drone delivery in a minute, and I'll tell you if anything is coming. Tagaytay City in the Philippines, and this man, it's a city government of Tagaytay, is a component city in the province of Cavite, which is on the island of Mindanao in the Philippines. It is one of the country's most popular tourist destinations because it is known for its mild climate. It sits on a ridge above the Taal volcano, which I was right, it's on a mountain or a ridge. An active volcano surrounded by Taal Lake. I've heard of that lake before. Overlooking the area, People's Park in the sky occupies the grounds of a never-finished presidential mansion. Picnic Grove is a recreation area with trails and a zip line in Tagaytay City. So I will put the link for Tagaytay City in the comments section for those of you who want to see a different part of the Philippines. It's 239 characters. It won't fit. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to that page. I'll just copy this. This should be less than 200. I'll copy the description for Tagaytay City. That's 156. And if you want to look it up, if you want to move to the Philippines for a less hot climate, like where I live, it's 30, goes up to 32, 33 degrees sometimes. And we'll thank the Jungle CC for stopping by and for the information about the word agoraphobia. Then Dennis says, I see you. Don't know why Michael did not see comments when he checked. No, I did not. I even pushed live comments twice and to check on the comments. No, there was no way for me to see that. Thank you, Dennis. Scott, thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to say goodbye. Actually, I have, I was going to check on the drone update, see if there's an update on the drone. I was thinking about that guy who came on yesterday and said it took him 14 years to become a drone operator. Okay, so I thought about that. The words, first of all, in 14 years, you can join the co-op in high school, go to Oakdale State College for 2 or 4 years to become a pilot. That's 4 years. Then 6 years in the service, you could become a jet or fighter pilot or a 707. That's 6 and 6 is 12 years. And you could be a commercial airline pilot in 14 years. Now, a drone pilot for the Air Force, you could do that in no time at all if you're computer savvy and you have gaming skills. Actually, the drone pilots for the 5 different armed forces, most of them were gamers. And that's what made them drone pilots, because they had the ability to see outside the box. That's what they call that. So even that wouldn't take 14 years. So trolls, you guys want to know about trolls? The more people I block, the less people there are to troll me. And that's a good thing. I have no updates on my drone parts. None at all. Although I was supposed to get a notice today about a delivery. It said it yesterday in my box that you will have a delivery tomorrow, or between the 20th and the 24th. But I have no notice. And in the Philippines, welcome. Today is the supposed moon landing date of July 20th, 1969, where everybody that was alive remembers where they were when that happened. But did it happen? That's the question. I don't pretend to know for sure, but if I was to lay odds, the odds would say it never happened. And it never did happen. It's never gonna happen. Not in our lifetime. Not according to facts and figures, especially the size of the rocket and the amount of fuel necessary. The father of rocketry, who actually was Robert H. Goddard, but Werner von Braun from World War II, who made the V-2 bombers or the V-2 rockets, he said that you'd need a rocket 3 times bigger than the Empire State Building, filled up with fuel, to go to the moon and back. That was his calculation. And then the fellow that discovered the Van Allen belts, because they did send rockets up into low Earth orbit. They said, and still do say, you'd need lead lining in the spaceship, which would require millions more pounds of thrust and hundreds of thousands of more pounds of fuel to get past low Earth orbit because of the weight constrictions. I think back in the 1970s, they figured out that to send a rocket into orbit cost $1 million per pound. But if you were to send a man outside through the Van Allen belt, they'd have to add, I don't remember exactly, an inch, half inch, 3 inches, could be any one of those numbers, of lead to shield the person inside the capsule, which would require many, many more times the weight of the rocket fuel that they had in the rocket that they supposedly sent to the moon. But there's a reason why you would need all that extra fuel. You see, the rocket has to constantly be adjusted for the trajectory. The trajectory to go around the moon, that's all real, those figures, with the weight calculations and gravity calculations. It's all real, but in order to keep the rocket on a proper trajectory, they'd need X amount of hundreds of thousands of pounds of fuel, or tens of thousands of pounds of fuel, which would require more thrust and bigger rockets than the Saturn V rocket to get it up into space. Might need 4 Saturn V rockets to get the fuel and the lead shielded capsule up there. So there's lots of theories against why, and then of course there's thousands. I might do a show on that because I saw a show on it recently. I didn't agree with the show, and I think the man meant well, but I don't think he has grasped the gravity of the situation, how much fuel would be needed, and the fact that it's more fiction than non-fiction, the landing where the Eagle has landed. Now that part doesn't make any sense. You have an 8,000 pounds of thrust motor this far away from your feet, giving 8,000 pounds of thrust to land. And the man is sitting in the capsule talking to you in a normal voice tone. You don't hear the rocket. The rocket capsule isn't shaking. And then when he got out of the rocket, there was no hole underneath the rocket or the capsule. There was no dust spewed around on the landing pads. There was no hole. I could take this little blower. Where'd the blower go? I could take this little blower here to the moon. I could take this little blower here and blow down from where the capsule was, and you would see dust in every direction for tens of meters. And it would make a hole under the capsule. And this blow is just 1 horsepower. Picture 8,000 pounds of thrust, and it didn't make a hole underneath the capsule. No one went to the moon. Take that to the bank. Not like that. They didn't. They may have gone to the moon in some sort of reverse technology, but they did not go to the moon in an aluminum can with 8,000 pound thrust rocket that didn't make any dust when it landed. And that's all I have to say about that. And Batman, again, this thing keeps, I cannot believe how cool this thing is working, how cool it's keeping me. This thing is, it's blowing air. Let me show it to you again. It's an air fan. Air comes in here. It comes out all of these holes right here, all around here, equally. And you can feel the wind. I can feel it from this far away. And when you put it around your neck, it's blowing air all the way up to here. I can feel it. Batman. Thank you, Batman. I don't know if you're watching or not, but thank you again. Bang a pot. Thank you, Batman. Okay, I got to go back to the channel. I'm going to say goodbye. Now I'm caught up. I was stuck back in the stream. LOL. Okay. That's around 71 degrees. Wow. You know, yeah, 71 degrees. The only way you're going to ever see 71 degrees in Bohol is if you go into a refrigerator. Thanks for that information. Okay. Anonymous commenter says they don't need so much fuel to get to the moon. Only need enough to break Earth orbit. Okay. But you would agree that if there was a lead shield capsule, they'd need a lot more fuel, but they also have to orbit the moon and come back. And I'm not a rocket scientist, so you could be right. You think you could definitely be right about that. You see, we're not getting all the real information, so your statement could be absolutely right, exactly correct. However, there's still no dust on the landing pads. And had I gone to the moon with them, and I would have done that if I could have, of course, any normal man who seeks adventure would do that. I would have grabbed Neil Armstrong by his ankles and bent down and picked him up, because in theory, Neil Armstrong weighed 175 pounds. His gear weighed 180 pounds. His total package was 350 pounds. At 1/6 the weight in gravity, the total package weighed 70 pounds. Any astronaut was working out every day could pick up 70 pounds. I would have picked them up by the ankles and put them over my head and done, exercises with him in my hands. But nobody did that. Or I would have jumped up. And they did jump up, but they never went more than 3 feet off the 2 or 3 feet off the ground maximum. I just don't believe they went. And then, of course, there is the infamous loss of every single video and tape that was made on the moon, all thousands of hours that were made on the way to the moon, the way back to the moon, on the moon, of the moon, inside the capsule, out. It's all got lost in one day. And then the one theory was it got lost, and one theory is that another department needed the metal tapes that the footage was on, and they took it and videotaped over the moon landing. All 1,000 reels of it, all of it, just gone. There was not even a single picture from the moon left. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, every picture that we have of the moon is CGI, computer graphics. Every single picture. Every picture we have of space. Every picture from the Hubble telescope. Every picture we have of Earth is all CGI. There is no such thing as somebody sending a camera up and taking a picture and then putting it back down. All the pictures of the universe, the mushroom cluster out there, the horse culture, the horse cluster, the bull cluster, and the Sagittarius, it's all CGI. None of it's real. So I don't know if we went to the moon, but I don't think we did. I believe that they made us believe it, and I don't care how many people were involved with it, because it goes back to 9/11. Thousands of people were involved in the cleanup of 9/11, and it took 20 years to get the NIST report out. There is deception in the public, to the public, for the public, done by billionaires and trillionaires to keep us in like mushrooms growing in the dark. Okay, anonymous commenter. See, that's a good point. That's a good point. Now, that little blower that I showed you, that thing will cook up. If you put it in sand and you stood like looking down at it and you blow it into the sand from about 18 inches away, you're going to get sand in your hair, you're going to get sand in your ears and on your glasses, in your nose, and your mouth. Dry sand, you're going to get even more. Wet sand is going to get dispersed. But thank you, anonymous commenter. I don't know. No one knows. But thank you for the comment. And thank you for stopping by. And intelligent comments are always welcome on my channel. Django, thank you for sharing your temperature range, in case anybody's interested in going to the Philippines and living where it's still cool at night or during the day. The Django has that place called Tagaytay, and it's an island. It's in Mindanao, I do believe. Oh no, wait a second, I'm wrong. South of Manila. I was wrong about that. South of Manila, Philippines, Luzon. Ah, yes. Okay, I remember where I heard that. There's a golf course up there. A friend of mine is a golfer. Okay, up in that area, north of Luzon. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye-bye for now. And of course, Amping Parmi from the Philippines. And once again, this neck thing, if anybody ever, I'm telling you, this thing is keeping me completely, it's blowing the air, it's cooling off my neck and my ears. It's keeping me cool. Actually, without that, my face would be sweating. So to Batman, who gave me my little neck blower thing. Thank you, Batman. So love my Batman, Batman. You are the one who sent out the flyers in Hawaii. Batman sent flyers out in Hawaii. He didn't do it once, he did it 3 times. I know Batman, and I got blamed for Batman's actions in Hawaii. But there's no proof I did that, and that's okay that he blames me. Because there is no proof that I did any such thing. We have to give Batman the proper bang and the proper ring. Ring-a-ding-ding, baby. Ring-a-ding-ding. I thought the Gene's sweet, Jesus sweet sound of Super Chat bell. It is Tannoy in the Philippines, baby. Batman, the real Batman, who sent out all those flyers in Hawaii, sent me this gadget yesterday. It's a fan, it goes around your neck, and it says, have to stay cool if you're exploring Bantayan Island from bats. I think that is so cool. Have to stay cool if you're exploring Bantayan Island from bats. I think the gift company had that wrong. Exploring Bantayan Island for bats is probably what it meant. And this thing, it plugs in, it's rechargeable. The charge lasted about an hour and a half actually. And then I plugged it in and now it's charging again. So I'm not real sure how long it lasted. Basically about an hour the charge lasted. So I mean, but you can plug it in and you can have it on while you're live streaming. So Batman is real. He's a great guy. I know exactly who Batman is. I don't know who exactly Batman is. Let's clear that up. So when I get brought to court and someone says I am Batman or I know who Batman is, I know who Batman is. But I don't know who Batman is. Batman has remained anonymous. And even if I knew who Batman was, it's only via one of those IP addresses that you can change with a VPN. And I don't even know how to look that up. So I know Batman uses a VPN, but I don't know what a VPN is exactly. So Batman sends me mail. He could send mail from any part of the world on any given day from a VPN. But to the fella who the mail went out to regarding Batman's flyers, it wasn't me, dude. I don't know why you keep thinking it's me. You can't tie me to that in any way, shape, or form. I don't have any bat stamps. You jump to so many conclusions. He's Bruce Wayne. Oh, Conroy knew who he was. Yeah, that's right. Batman is Bruce Wayne. That's right, Conroy. So, Conroy, if you want, I'll give you a call. But right now, it looks like it's about ready to, the skies are going to open up, but I'm going to go. I have something else that I want to do in a little while, and I'm going to go prepare to do my next project. A bat drone. No, the bat drone is already the Sky King. But for the right price, if someone wants to put their name on the drone, except Batman. Batman just has to tell me he wants. I got to put Batman on the drone no matter. For free. Libre. Thank you, Batman. Batman gets a free shout out on the drone in permanent magic marker, red or black. I'm such a generous fella. Thanks for watching, everybody. Gotta go. I really do have to go. Bye-bye for now. I will talk with you guys later. Can I? If you want, I'll call you up. Let me know now or forever hold thy peace. Scott's getting ready to go to bed. Can I? Yes or no? Tell you what, can I? I'll call you in about 5 or 6 minutes. I have a few minutes. And then if you answer, you answer. Gotta go, guys. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for watching. And remember, life is to be lived outside of a bedroom or inside the bedroom if you should so choose to do so. LOL, yes. I'm Bing Permy from the Philippines, baby, which means, of course, take care always. Bye-bye for now.